This is a big warning video for you because it is over for Bitcoin. I have closed all of my Bitcoin longs that I have opened over the past few weeks. I am only in short trades right now. And yes, I am looking for lower prices. This is going to be a truly massively important video for you all, not only because of the warnings that I will be giving of the lower prices, but also talking about real precise targets that I will be looking for. Of course, I am a trader that's all about the probabilities. And right now, the probabilities are definitely towards downside to come next. I will be talking you through though the invalidation where I am wrong on this idea of lower prices and how we can be actually looking to trade it, because probabilities are one thing but actual setups are another. And so we're going to be looking through all of this today. And I'm not going to be asking for likes, for shares, for anything. I just really will say one thing: just listen carefully. Please just pay full attention to the whole video, not for me but for you. I am making this video for you, to give you the warning, to help you, right? So just listen carefully. That's all you need, and you will walk away with this video with not only more knowledge and insights but also more confidence in what is to come. So yeah, I think it's going to be a very nice video, a special one for you today. So let's come over to the lovely charts. And let's really quickly analyze the past 24 hours. So we can see we have now finally got a confirmation of the fake out of the triangle. So of course, we were looking at this as a sideways range. What we were looking at is a triangle which went into a sideways range where we done what? We faked out the overall range high. And then there was the potential of us flipping the resistance of the trend line of the triangle to support, but that failed. That well and truly failed, and we came back down into the triangle. So now not only do we have a confirmation of the fake out of the range high, I mean, this was confirmed a few days ago, but we now have the confirmation of the fake out of the triangle. And that is why for the past like 4 videos I've made about this as we were breaking out the triangle was never long the breakout. I am never going to be looking to long this breakout. And this is exactly why, because this happens time and time and time again. So I really hope that that was a nice warning. Just do not even get any interest in trying to long this breakout. But okay, now we have got the confirmation of the full breakout here. What are we looking at next? And before I get into that, I've got one thing that I want to clear up here, and that is the differentiate. The differentiate. God, how embarrassing. The differentiation. Oh my God. How to differentiate. Oh, man, I'm not even going to cut that out. You can see, keeping it real. How to differentiate, my friends, between a scalp trade. I know you love my videos, and swing trading. This is a really key differentiation. Oh my God, why am I struggling with this word? Differentiation. There's a real key difference. Hey, let's just make our life easy. There's a real big difference between scalp trading and swing trading. I always say I'm not your English teacher, my friends. I am your trading teacher. Right? We are crushing the charts and making a lot of profits. But if you're here for the English lessons, hey, you maybe get a C, an ever so slight pass. Anyway, keep it real. Let's go. As I was saying here. Let's start off with this. So swing trading, right? We are looking for, let's say, a maximum of 2 trades a day. We keep it very simple, very just looking for those massive high probability trades. And you could even go down to like 1 trade a week type view. But, generally we're looking for 1 to 2 trades a day. But it could be that you then go a few days taking no trades, right? It takes a lot of patience. You simply wait for the overall lows or the overall highs. And the difference there then with scalp trading is that on this level of trading, day trading, scalp trading, you are easily going to be taking 10 plus trades a day. So that means you could be taking a long, a short, long, several different trades a day, and they could last anywhere between 5 minutes to a few hours, right? So you're just focused on lots of little trades, and you're not looking for those massive swing runs, right? You're just looking to add up over the course of the day, lots of different small wins. And why I say this is because during this downtrend, just like on this uptrend, right, there is opportunity for lots of different lower term time frame longs, just as there is opportunity for lots of different lower term time frame shorts. And this is really emphasized over the past 24 hours here, because you've had many different long and short trade opportunities. I want to bring this one more towards focus on these swing trades and the bigger important levels. So yeah, that was a bit of an introduction with a lot of missed vocabulary, right? So anyway, I swear I'm actually not that bad at language, but for some reason I get nervous. I'll share it with you. I get nervous on the videos, right? So I'm a bit like, oh. Anyway, I'm joking around with you all, but hey, sometimes I do struggle with the language. Anyway, let's move on, right? Let's focus on the video. And so I want to be focusing on the swing trades here. Okay, so the big key important levels. So I want to share with you a swing trading challenge account that I have. Of course, I have a few different accounts. This is one that I built for a challenge account. And this account is actually one that I doubled in account value. So if you have been a subscriber of this channel over the past few months, you will know that I started this account on $26,000 and we actually brought it to over $60,000 in the space of a month. So it was a very, very, very nice trading account. From there, I've taken out, moved to the bank the profits, and we kind of started it again. And this account actually has been averaging now around $10,000 of profit a week. So it's, you know, a very nice little trading account we got going on here. Of course, it's nothing really to shout out about the value of the trades, but currently in a 1 Bitcoin short. But I want to just show you, as we talk about swing trading, how these trades have just been managed up so well. So you can see here in the original move to the upside, short, take profit, retook a short, down at the lows, enter into a buy, take profit one, actually ended up closing the rest of the short here, and into a short, and you know, this is the trade that's still open. So you probably saw me posting a little bit about this over on Twitter, or if you follow here, which I recommend you do because there is a lot of things that I post that are helpful. You can see there the entry price 107k, which was the point E of the triangle, closed at $114,000. Obviously then had a short from $115,000 range high fake out, and this is, you know, the trade that's still in here. Why do I mention this? Because the number one key reason why people lose money, let me emphasize this for you, right? This is a massive reason where people fail in trading, and they do what is known as round tripping trades. They can have a really nice entry and they will see it move into wonderful profits, but they will not be taking any profits. They will not close on weakness, and that really nice trade ends in a loss as their stop loss gets hit. And that is what's known as round tripping trades. It is a very common issue. It is probably one of the, what I would class as within the top five. We're definitely within the top 5 issues. Round tripping trades. Another key one kind of linked to this is closing trades too early. So that's 2 factors that a lot of people really struggle with. They will get into nice trades and they will close really early, or they will get into nice trades, never take profits, and end in a loss. Right? Both of them are 2 key issues that we see regularly, and that's why, you know, within the group we spend a lot of time really trying to, you know, educate you of how to get out of that habit, right? But this is just a really nice example because, you know, that was a long from $107,000, closed at $114,000, right? Full profit, full profit. And this is not just for me to say, hey, look at me. This is for me to explain now how and why I saw this. So it was really closed out on. This was the actual sell candle of the long, by the way. So you can see the exit price 114.2, and that was right here, 114.2, as we were actually getting this break to the downside. So we had a mini range going on here. We broke to the downside of the mini range, and that for me was then confirming to me we have now seen a fake out of the overall range high. We have then lost the mini range low. So that is just a big amount of weakness. So I closed my longs. Of course, I already had my short open as well. And then it's you know, just understanding that level of confirmation. And I want to share one other thing with you very quickly. Of course, in yesterday's video, we were talking about this little short, but I just want to play you the actual clip from the Champions live stream a second. So this is literally about 30 seconds long, but I just really want to emphasize because it's going to link to the point that I want to make next about the upcoming trade. The importance is, okay, where is the next trade off the back of that? I'd be saying if we do get the, you know, break to the upside, at this point, I'm not going to be coming in and saying, oh, I'm super bullish, I'm taking a load of longs, mainly because I have a long from the low. But, you know, I'm not going to be saying, oh, this is super bullish and take a load of longs, because a lot of people would get super bullish here and then forget that you can just get a triangle that does what? Fake out the high, reversal. And where would be our high? It would be ultimately the bigger range here. That's the range high, right? That's the range low. And so I'm not going to be getting super bullish on the breakout of the triangle because I realize ultimately it's just a range that can fake out and get a big dump. So, you know, I kind of do not ever look to trade the breakouts of these triangles. It's So that was, the bigger clip on the 23rd, and this is when I saw that the marketing team decided to release that exact video here on YouTube at the same day. I was like, wow, that is a lot of alpha that we've just shared. We normally keep that only for the members because this is this is the real trading plan. But the marketing team was feeling very generous, and I did think, well, that's very generous. But yeah, of course, I'd be saying if we do get the break. You just mute that. So that, that was then we obviously shared this as a YouTube video explaining, well, that's where we look for the fake out. That's, the plan from the video. So yeah, if you got to watch those shorts, because sometimes you'll get a real big, generous drop there like that one was. But anyway, ultimately, what we've seen is that move to the upside, faking out the overall range high. So if we just hide everything going on here, and I promise you, we are nearly there of what we're looking at next. Last thing that I want to just show, that was, of course, the fake out of the overall range high, just above $116,000. And so we had that overall fake out of the range high, which was a short trade in itself based off the swing failure pattern. And then it was the closing of the longs after the confirmation of the weakness, which was for me or for the lower term time frame range being lost. That has then got a lower term time frame weakness with the higher term time frame weakness off of the fake out of the range high. And so that is what I mean by correctly managing trades, right? It's very easy to just come in and say, well, there's a line, go, yeah. You actually need to manage trades well. And this right here is truly managing trades well. Shorts at the highs, longs at the lows. Shorts back at the highs. Well, I've not took a long. As you can see here, there's not been a single swing long taken during the whole of this move to the downside, right? Not a single long taken during all of this move. This right here was a take profit. There's not a single long taken. And why? Because I'm looking for the high probability swing trades. I took a few scalp longs over the past few days. One scalp long that I took here around 112, but that was it. It was a quick scalp trade long, right? In and out, right? You don't want to be holding on to those trades too long. And so having that key differentiation, oh my God, this is so annoying. I literally am super annoyed at myself. Having this key difference, or having that key knowledge of knowing what is the difference between the scalp trade and the swing trade is why having these different accounts are really beneficial, because then you can hold on to your swing trades long time and not have to close them too early. You also then close when there's weakness, right? You are literally extracting full profits from the market, right? Longs from the lows, close at the highs, shorts from the highs, and now I'm looking to take it down to where? Back down towards the lows. So anyway, I digress, and we'll move on to what are we looking at next, key levels. I hope that was worthwhile first 10 minutes of the video, because I cover these things because they are really important, and by me covering what I've done, how I've done it, that's the information that you can absorb and the knowledge that you can really learn from, right? And then we look at what's happening next, because well, that's where we can make more profits. So yeah, in terms of next move, I believe that we have a key level of resistance, and I want to start off with where I am wrong in this regard. So where is the invalidation of lower? And I like looking at this pivot from the downtrend to the current price. You can see we're currently bouncing down and around this value area low zone, but there's going to be a key level of resistance, right? And that will be our downtrend point of control. So you can just mark it out right now and say $113.2 thousand, right? If we get a reclaim of $113.2 thousand, reclaiming this downtrend point of control, well then, well, you could say unfortunately, but really it's fortunate, because where you're wrong on lower. Okay, and at this point is where I'd be closing shorts. I wouldn't enter into a long straight away. I would have to wait for a new long trade setup, but at least I'd be able to close I know where I'd be looking to close my shorts. And so that's what I wanted to start off with. Right? I say, it's a very hypey card. It's over for Bitcoin, of course. At the end of the day, we're trading a range. So don't, you have to take it with a pinch of salt. This is YouTube games for you, everybody. But, it's technically over for Bitcoin, but Bitcoin can be back with a reclaim right there, $113.2 thousand, and then it's back to the races. Let's get a massive move to the upside, right? But I would have to be very transparent and honest with you that if we do directly move to the upside here, I would not have a long on Bitcoin. Okay, and it is as simple as that. I'm not going to magic along here. I know we keep it real on this channel. That's why people like it, because it's very honest and transparent. And so I do not have a long open from the lows here. Naturally, why? Because I believe we've lost very important support levels. We've lost the uptrend anchored VWAPs. We've lost very key higher term time frame levels, pointed controls, anchored VWAPs, range pointed control. That for me is signaling, well, I do not have a level to long here. We did bounce off of a weekly naked pointer control, which was the exact dollar low, but I was asleep, missed that long, unfortunately. But there was a very technical long, should you have been awake. I will show you this very quickly. Weekly naked pointer control. This was your weekly naked pointer control from the previous week. Literally caused the exact dollar low there, $107,900. $107,900. The exact low on the weekly naked pointer control. Right, you saw a bounce up to around 111.5 thousand. So extreme precision, but again, you cannot get every trade, and I was asleep on that one. Didn't bother waking up on for this one. But yeah, it would have been a nice trade should have I been awake, right? Could have got myself into another scalp long, but ultimately there's a lot of weakness. So I'm not really going to be that upset about missing that long because, well, it's probable that we'll get another low, right? And again, I'm not saying that this has to happen today, but I'm just saying over the next week or so, unless we get the reclaim, as I've just mentioned, then lower prices are likely. So when we talk about lower prices, of course, we can start to, we already know that we're at the value area low right now. Of course, you have a minor daily level. I think you have a key, let's call it a key zone still, which we've been talking about, $106,000, which is what I like to refer to as like a liquid level in terms of, well, we can still come down to the other side of this triangle, taking out these lows. These are what I would still just call minor opportunities, but it's an opportunity nevertheless, right? So you can still be aware of that. I don't think it hurts to be aware of the liquidity down there at $106,000. But ultimately, yeah, I feel there's a big, large pull towards $100,000. That's a real simple way of viewing this, right? We have a fake out of what? The range high, right? So we have a fake out of the range high, $116,000. So where do we go down to? Where? The other side of the range. That's where? $102,000. And we simply have the range low, range high, where we formed a triangle within that to fake out the range high. And then we look to, well, down towards this range low, where then we continue to trade it back up. Highs to the lows, to the highs. And eventually, we'll get one of two things. Another fake out of the low, and we can continue to trade this range. Or at one point, we're going to get a break of the range low, which is lost. And then you get a significant drop to the downside. Or alternatively, right, instead of getting like you see here, which is a swing failure pattern wick, okay, this is a bearish fake out. Alternatively, you will see strength, right? And what does strength mean? It means getting back above this high, flipping it into support, and then you look for another significant move to the upside. So the difference between a fake out, which is of course a short trade opportunity, and a reclaim is, well, hopefully you can kind of understand. This is a wick rejection. This is clear as day, wick onto the level, very bearish. If you get through the level, you start closing above, flipping it into support. Well, that's clearly a reclaim, right? One is a short trade. One is, well, for me, I would class this as no trade and just look for higher. Okay, so yeah, the same applies to the lows. You'll either get a bit of a fake out. Of course, you can get failed auctions, which is another trade setup in itself, which is where you spend time above the high but before coming back down. That's a failed auction trade setup. Again, if any of this is confusing for you, just get yourself right now over to chartchampions.com. We have the full educational library. Anything that does not make sense here is taught. I've not hid anything. All my strategies, everything that I do with trading is taught here. So if you actually want to be a boss, if you want to be a champion trader, if you want to absolutely crush the charts, this is the place to be, right? If you want to live like a champ, you've got to actually be in the champions, right? That's a very key thing that you have to understand there. Anyway, yeah, failed auction setup is another thing in itself. But for now, yeah, to summarize what I'm looking for and why, we have lost key levels of support. We have got confirmation of weakness with the now acceptance back into the triangle. I know where I am wrong, and that's on a reclaim of our resistance, flipping it back into support. Until we see that, though, the highest probability is lower. We have a few key levels, as I've mentioned, which could act as some minor support, but that is where you have a scalp trade with the potential of a swing trade. So again, this is another key differentiation. Oh man, I swear, I'm gonna do the learning after this video, and I'm not going to make this mistake. But yo digo que yo sí puedo hablar bien las idiomas. Yo hablo perfectamente español. Si hago ese video en español, yo voy a hacerlo perfecto. Lo hago en inglés y me equivoco. Pero si lo hago en español, yo te prometo que voy a hacer un video muy bueno. Anyway, yeah, for me, need to learn better on those English skills. And what I do not need to do is spend any more time in this video. I've done everything I needed to do, talked you through what I'm looking for, why I'm looking for it, the key levels, and what I'm aware of next. We've had a little bit of fun in the video too, which is never a bad thing, right? I hope that you've truly enjoyed the video. I hope it's made sense to you. And hey, yeah, if you want to see more of live trading, altcoin streams, like right now you got an altcoin stream going on, so you know, if you want to know about virtual USD, yeah, a whole bunch of altcoins, you know, you can get your updates on Link, XRP, Solana, CRCL, all those good altcoins, Ethereum, etc. Well, I did an altcoin video yesterday where we've got some updates on that. You got another altcoin video today. Lots of altcoin updates, lots of live trading streams, lots of daily morning updates. I've already done a live stream this morning for the members. Of course, that's where you can get the real nice information before having to wait for it here on YouTube, right? That's the main advantage of being a member. You don't need to wait around here. You get the information first before anybody else as a champion. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed. Thank you ever so much. Quick little plug of the merch store because truly very happy with this one. As you can probably tell, I'm just going to be wearing CC merch all day, every single day. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed. Thank you ever so much. And yeah, that's me signing out. Thank you and goodbye.